Expect a lot of ball screens for them to get to their spots. Two very effective shooters.
So we expect to see a lot of Knox and Hines tonight. One player you won't see on Norm Stewart court is Mizzou's usual starting point guard, the sophomore Anthony Robinson. He will miss tonight's game with an illness. He went through pregame warmups, doesn't appear to be anything serious, but he will not play tonight for the Missouri Tigers. So here we go, final non-con game before Mizzou enters the toughest league in the land. At number 2 Auburn on Saturday. It's the Missouri Tigers and the Alabama State Hornets.
Been important for Missouri to set the tone defensively.
The illegal screen on the first possession goes against Alabama State. I mentioned Missouri without their usual point guard, Anthony Robinson, in the starting lineup. Another sophomore, Trent Pierce, pops into the starting 5 for the Tigers, as they also have Tony Perkins in there. Tamar Bates at the 2, of course Mitchell, and then the big man Josh Gray down low as the Tigers turn it over on their first possession. Micah Octave no good, and the first rebound goes to Perkins. Missouri team that we've seen it all throughout the months of November and December. They like to get up and down the floor.
Yeah, I like to get up and down. Anthony Robinson being out in this game is a factor. Tony Perkins, an experienced point guard, now leading the charge as the starting point guard, has played mostly off the ball so far this season.
Under 10 to shoot. It's in the hands of Bates. Pierce, we've seen him knock down that outside shot over and over again.
That's a great read by Tamar Bates, too. Just being under control, letting the play develop. And Trent Pierce getting the start, has such a smooth stroke. You want to see his confidence keep growing and growing, especially with SEC play around the corner. Missouri's going to need 11 on the floor.
Talked about Knox and Hines. Micah Octave, TJ Madlock, another couple of guys that can pop for 15 or 20 points in a game. And Alabama State will need all the scoring they can get with Mizzou scoring 80 to 90 points just about every night out. Battle for a loose ball, and Bates comes away with it, but a little too fancy trying to start a break. Octave gets the Hornets on the board.
Second chance points there. Missouri already active defensively, and all 5 yellow jerseys were right around that defensive glass trying to get defensive rebounds.
Octave back healthy. He started the season red hot for Alabama State, got hurt, and returned a few games ago, so they're happy to see him back on the court and productive. Perkins on the drive out to Mitchell. Mitchell fouled on his way to the hoop. You saw that drive there by Perkins. That's the thing that Missouri really misses about Robinson, right? In the half court, he gets to the basket.
No question. When you can have a guard that can break down a defender and get a paint touch, it's so important. When you get a paint touch, defenses have to adjust, and it allows for kickouts. You saw Trent Pierce hit a 3. And right there, you're able to get Mark Mitchell face up. Instead of on the block, he can face up and attack, use his athleticism.
Bates from the corner, in and out. That last foul, by the way, was on Octave, his first and the team's second. And this will go to Alabama State off that last miss.
And this is interesting as well. Dennis Gates applying some pressure here early on. Missouri loves to change their defense. It's been a big calling card of Dennis Gates through his tenure at Missouri. Was really good in year 1 of changing his defense, his full court traps, man-to-man presses. A lot of different defenses you throw that can change the complexity of a game.
Tigers switch there, and Gray gets called for the foul.
There, Josh Gray, just a bad angle. Basketball's such a game of angles, and when you're a big in the ball screen, got to get out faster and quicker and take away that angle.
Tony Madlock in his 3rd year, Alabama State, has experience as an assistant and a head coach in the SEC. We'll talk about that a little bit later on tonight. There's a steal by Perkins. Perkins glides in for the finish.
Veteran guard play, Ben. He read that like a book. Telegraph pass, jumps the passing lane, and leads to a dunk on the other end.
Early lead for Missouri, and there's a turnover.
Ben, you can already see the energy in this building through the first few minutes. Crowds into it, and it starts on the defensive end. Dennis Gates talked about that, how they want to be better on the glass in this game. They want to start the game with effective defense, and they're able to get a turnover, get a steal. Missouri's so good on the defensive end, getting their hands on balls.
Tigers have already forced 3 turnovers as Perkins gets into the paint. Can't get it to go, but there's Mitchell flying in for the rebound, and he draws a foul.
And that's what Mark Mitchell does so well, is active, not allowing himself to get boxed out, able to get an offensive rebound there, uses contact, uses physicality to create the contact and get to the free throw line. This is the important piece right here for Mark Mitchell. Get to the free throw line, get comfortable, get confident, get consistent, start making some free throws like we know Mark Mitchell can do.
Octave got called for the foul. That's already his second. And Mitchell hits the first free throw. I like you bring that up. That is so critical, his free throw shooting. Missouri's got guards that are in the 80s and 90s at the foul line, but some of the bigs have struggled. And as you mentioned, look, SEC teams can read a stat sheet, right? They're going to try to force him to beat him at the line.
Well, and Mizzou's first nationally in free throws made, too. They're still at 21 free throws made a game. They're second in attempts at 30. That's a big increase from last year where they were dead last in the SEC.
That was such a point of contention for Dennis Gates a year ago, begging to get his guys to the foul line more. And they certainly have here in the non-con in the months of November and December. Tigers with that swarming defense. That's a nice outlet. Good safety valve there as Amar Knox gets his first bucket of the night.
Yeah, good cut. Again, good defense by Missouri. Getting in passing lanes, really aggressive with the pressure. Alabama State has to be aggressive cutting back door when overplayed.
Bates swung out and around. Mitchell has it knocked away. There's a steal. Almost stolen right back by Pierce. But TJ Madlock, the coach's son, on the drive, and he will go to the line. And he's another guy who can average in double figures and get up to 20+ a game.
Yeah, and Alabama State aggressive early on. You know, they're going to come in here and look to shoot the basketball, take a lot of quick shots right now, but really just trying to get a rhythm here. First 4 minutes, a lot of energy so far in the building from Missouri defensively, trying to figure out that pressure. Alabama State's got to settle in, and you do that by attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line.
Madlock played for his father at South Carolina State for a year, transferred over to Alabama State when Tony took the job. Scored in double figures 28 times a year ago. He's an all SWAC level guy. So even though, you know, obviously your eyes go to those 15-point-a-game scorers in Knox and Hines, Madlock can beat you.
Yep. This Alabama State team, too, they can score the ball. They average close to 77 points a game. Now, they do give up 81, so Missouri's got to attack offensively. But Alabama State can score the ball.
A little full-court pressure here as Missouri brought in Aiden Shaw at that last timeout. Bates thought about it. Good closeout by Madlock as Missouri's seen a zone. This first time tonight?
First time tonight, and you can. This is great. Dennis Gates will love this because Missouri does need to work on this against the zone. Perfect example on the turnover.
Madlock with the steal, tries to go coast to coast. Good contest by Bates, and the rebound, and now Missouri's running the other way. The trailer, Mitchell, aggressive to the hoop, and he will go to the foul line. 4 minutes into this one, up and down the court they go. It's a close one early between Mizzou and Alabama State. Tigers with the 2-point lead. Their shoot around. He's known Dennis Gates for a long time and CY. There's just a ton of respect between these two coaching staffs. And whenever we had a chance to talk to Coach Gates earlier in the season, he was very intentional in the way he set up the non-conference schedule. Not necessarily looking at the records of the team from the previous year, what conference they play in, but looking for coaches that he knows well, that he respects, who he knows put out a good disciplined team and play styles that he wanted his Tigers to face going into conference play.
Yeah, coaches know coaches. That's part of the profession. But I think, too, Dennis Gates putting this non-conference schedule together, a lot of it's because there's just so many newcomers. You got young freshmen, you got transfers. Yeah, you have some returners, but it's an entirely new roster for the most part for Missouri, and that takes time to gel. Usually it's around Christmas, around the New Year, when you really start to figure out what you are as a basketball team.
Madlock gets that one to go. You've got a 2-point game again.
It's a tough shot, but again, coming off an offensive rebound as well.
Aiden Shaw going to work for the first time, and he's got his first points.
Ben, how good has Aiden Shaw got at just being on a jump stop, playing off 2 feet, playing on balance? Great finish by Aiden Shaw.
Mizzou's had aggressive takes in the paint, and there's been some heavy contact down there. Missouri's been getting the benefit. They're not calling that offensive down there. And it's interesting to see Missouri keep going back to it, you would think.
Yeah, and, you know, the interesting thing about this Missouri team, and obviously Caleb Grill's been out. He's a big-time three-point threat for Missouri. But Mizzou, so far in the non-conference, they have made a living getting to the paint, getting to the free throw line, and really attacking the rim and finishing when they get there. A lot of it has to do off sharing the ball and making crisp passes.
Perkins gets the roll on the step back. Speaking of Caleb Grill, he is in the building tonight. He went through pregame warm-ups. Was a game-time decision. We'll see if he sees any action here tonight.
Missouri does such a good job of getting to the free throw line, but again, one of 4 teams to score 75 points or more in every game. So when you're scoring the ball like Missouri has scored it, a lot of it has to, on their 2-point field goal percentage, they're so good from 2-point range, but they're also making life easier by getting to the free throw line.
Deontay Bass with his first bucket tonight.
Alabama State doing a great job of attacking off the dribble, making crisp decisions. They're not holding the basketball. They're making quick decisions out of triple threats.
From the corner, Tamar Bates gets it to go.
And Tamar Bates, how good has he been? Especially in big games, he has really showed up, and he can really shoot the basketball. Such a smart player, but it's what he does on the defensive side of the ball, too. A great start for Tamar Bates to knock down that three-point shot.
Rejection by Tony Perkins. Erased that shot from Amar Knox.
Talk about Tamar Bates hitting the three, and then right there, great job by Tony Perkins coming from the help side. Aiden Shaw just waiting for Tamar Bates to come off the baseline, get his feet squared up and set. Pretty stroke. And then defensively, Tony coming from the weak side. You got to time that up when you're a guard. He times it up perfectly.
Missouri looking to trap in the corner. Marcus Allen just into the game, getting on the floor. And the last touch by Alabama State, I believe.
It's an excellent trap
ball
from Missouri defensively. Really did a great job on the defensive side to force the turnover on the trap. You see right here.
Yeah, I think they got that call right.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it touched Allen after that last deflection. So Missouri with a chance to widen the lead. Perkins, Jacob Cruz in for the first time. Left open. It's off the back iron, and a foul is going to be on Bates here as he looked to contest that rebound.
Yeah, right there, Tamar Bates just being aggressive and easy calls. He goes over the top. Missouri, the freedom of movement on offense to be able to shoot the ball. All 5 guys on the floor are allowed to shoot the ball. They're allowed to attack, put the ball off the bounce. But with that, you got to be smart and take good shots and make sure you're trying to get the best shot possible and sharing it.
Missouri with that aggressive on-ball defense we've gotten used to seeing from this team over the last 2 months. Nice move there and a good look from Micah Simpson, but he couldn't get it to go. Shaw leading the break.
That's what's great about having Aiden Shaw on the floor when he can play the 5 and just rebound and go with it. Makes you so dynamic when you can. It's a small ball lineup, but there's nothing small about Aiden Shaw as the 5.
Perkins running the show for Missouri. We go under 13 minutes to play in the first half. Tigers with their largest lead at 7. Bates. That just rattled in and out. Allen gets the rebound and goes right in there. Shaw looking for it, and out comes Deontay Bass. He might have missed a foul there.
Yeah,
from what my ears told me. Step back 3 in and out from Hines. He is yet to score. Cruz in transition. Ooh, pinballs out.
Yeah, these last couple threes have hit every piece of the rim and popped out. Good shots, though, and Missouri's defensive activity has been great, and then rebounding and pushing the ball in transition.
Ends up with Hines. That ball did not touch the rim, so no shot clock reset for Madlock and the Hornets. Under 10 to shoot as Madlock drives and pulls up on Cruz, and the rebound for Allen. Missouri's 2 for 6 from 3, but they've all been good shots, and most of those misses have been halfway down, as Bates will go to the line. When we come back, 11:51 to go in the first half. Missouri trying to pull away from Alabama State. They lead by 7. As Missouri is, as I mentioned a moment ago, 2 for their first 6. The teams are combined 0 for their last 9 as Tamar Bates goes to the line. And we talked about free throw shooting an awful lot. It's going to be the difference for Missouri at times this season, you would think.
No question. And there's the best free throw shooter on this team is Tamar Bates, and he just missed the front end of one. Tamar leads the country in free throw percentage, but you look at Mizzou too, going back to that Illinois game, the positive you take away from that is Tamar Bates and Mark Mitchell in big games have really shown up. You saw it in the Kansas win, you saw it in the win against Cal. Obviously they played really well against Illinois, just didn't come out with the victory, but those are 2 guys that are older, experienced players really leading the charge. And also Tony Perkins had his best game as a Missouri Tiger in the bragging rights game.
It's a nice luxury to be able to just move a former all Big Ten guy over to your primary ball handler position when you're missing a guy for a game. Missouri with that swarming defense. Flying in for the rebound is Aiden Shaw. Cruz, the trailer, kicks out to Bates. Extra pass, Marcus Allen. And the rebound by Hines. Ahead of the pack, slammed down by Tyler Mack.
That can't happen. Marcus Allen is the three-point shooter, and he's the first one back for Missouri. When the shooter rises up to shoot a jump shot, a guard has to recognize they have to get back in defensive transition to not give up that fast break dunk.
Missouri's lead down to 6. Good cut to the hoop. And Bates with the layup.
Marcus Allen's going to be a really good player, Ben, for this team. He's a defensive specialist, but he can pass. He can make a shot. His game will continue to emerge as he gets older and more experienced, but that's a great pass to find Tamar Bates, and the offhand for Tamar using the rim to shield the defender with the reverse finish.
Comes in with a real high basketball IQ, and we've seen him play crunch time minutes in some of Mizzou's closer non-conference games. They already trust him to make the right decision. Runner no good by Simpson. Warwick ends up with the rebound.
Marcus Allen played big minutes too down the stretch in that Kansas win here on Norm Stewart Court as well. He's going to play in the SEC games because of that size and that frame. He can switch out. He brings a versatility to the defensive side of the ball that Dennis Gates loves.
You just think about how much this team has evolved even since the opener against Memphis. You see a guy like Marquez Warwick came in as a 2,000-point scorer, settling into a little different role here as he knocks down the three behind the screen.
You knew it was coming, Ben. You knew it was coming right there on cue. Warwick comes in, instant offense. He kind of has that six-man mentality. Again, you mentioned it, experience in scoring, and he can really shoot that ball.
The evolution of Trent Pierce. We talked about Allen. Some of the different things we've seen from Aiden Shaw that we have not seen from Aiden Shaw in his first couple of years in a Mizzou uniform. It's a completely different group than a year ago.
Well, Dennis Gates has talked about it many a times, being able to look down that bench and know you got a lot of guys you can look to at different times in different situations. That's a coaching dream. You want to have those type of pieces, and that was a big emphasis in putting this team together. And they have experience. They also have some youth and some developmental players, but these young emerging players, they can do some things on the floor that can really help this team in rotational minutes.
Here's a steal, and it's Missouri's 4th turnover. The lob. Missouri able to break it up. Good job getting back defensively. Was that Shaw?
That was Shaw. Great activity. Marcus Allen in the mix as well.
Warwick wanted a foul and said it's a steal by Jalen Kigo. Now Mack looking to make something happen.
Missouri's got to protect that basketball. Alabama State through the first 10 minutes of this game. Really active hands, doing a great job of poking the ball away.
Hines, the drive, can't get it to go. Good box out by Bates.
Excellent ball. This game the tempo's been going up and down. There is some fatigue and a factor here. And obviously with the holidays involved in this game as well, this energy in the building at the beginning of this game, the tempo was up and down, and you're starting to see some fatigue set in a little bit.
Cruz looking to drive. He'll take the step back, and that rattles in and out for him again. Both threes he's taken have been halfway down.
Yeah, he's a good shooter. And a big shot. Illinois game, had some big minutes in the bragging rights game.
And there's a three from Steven Walker. Timeout called by Missouri. Dennis Gates didn't like what he saw here. Missouri's lead down to 8 as they try to close out the non-con with a win. And as we come out of this latest break, almost 12 minutes into this one, there is Caleb Grill on the floor for the first time since suffering that scary neck injury against Lindenwood 5 games ago. He was a game-time decision. He's out there. Probably a good thing to give him a look here, see how he feels, because you know the toughest conference in America is coming starting Saturday.
Yeah, and it's great to see Caleb Grill on the floor, and obviously he's had some time off trying to get healed up, and especially coming back at the right time. He's had some practices, got some practice under his belt, but this is a 55% three-point shooter. He's already had a 33-point game this year. Obviously, great rebounder. And Missouri 7-2 with him in the lineup, 1-22 without him. You got to have Caleb Grill in the SEC.
How about that decision there by Marquez Warwick? Had the open 3 look, knew that he had to drive to the lane, gets a higher percentage shot, and bumps the lead up to 10.
Experience, right? I mean, that's a veteran play right there. Not settling, knowing, hey, I can go to the rim. I can go get an easier, more high-efficient shot.
Trent Pierce on the floor trying to save a possession. Madlock comes up with it. Numbers for Alabama State, but Missouri gets the steal. And a little flip there by Caleb Grill first time he touches the ball. Flying in for the putback is Tony Perkins.
I miss that sequence right there. Missouri's just everywhere. Great effort by Mark Mitchell to get back in the play, to get that deflection that led to the steal and led the transition break for Mizzou.
Largest lead of the night for Missouri at 12. This is where Alabama State's got to have a response. Madlock, 1-on-2, nowhere to go. Under 10 to shoot. Grill with that defense. He's on the floor already. And Missouri 5 seconds away from forcing the turnover on the shot clock.
And that's what Caleb Grill does. That activity, that effort. And sometimes coaches are thinking, okay, Caleb, you just got back. Like let's not get, you know, some injury here right when you get back. But he comes out with reckless abandon, diving on the floor. That's vintage Caleb Grill.
That was the one thing, you know, these last couple of weeks as he's been making his way back, I kept thinking, where does he have to be where he's comfortable being the kind of player he is coming off of an injury like that? And I don't think there's a question. He's already been flying all over the place and sticking his nose in defensively.
And that is why coaches always use the words precautionary, because, you know, you want to give Caleb the time to get back to being vintage Caleb Grill that we just saw dive on the floor. Caleb Grill is going to play as hard as anybody that steps foot on the floor. So when he gets back, you want to make sure he's firmly healthy and ready to go. And he has some practices as well to get that energy, to get that wind, be in good conditioning to be able to play.
He's got that Jason Sutherland in him.
Oh, no question.
He's got that Jordan Geist.
There's some JT Tiller to him a little bit, that level of toughness for sure.
Perkins to the line for two, hits the first.
With Caleb, too, it's not just the shooting, it's the experience he brings back on the floor. Right there, Anar Boateng checks into the game, and Caleb Grill's just talking to him. Hey, who you got? He just settles everything from an older experience. Tony Perkins is the same way. You got to have those type of veterans on the floor.
Perkins hits them both. Missouri is 7 for 8 from the line.
Been talking before the game. This is, you know, what we were hoping to see. You know, Boateng getting some minutes. You got Trent Pierce starting, and then Caleb Grill working his way back. It's good to see from Mizzou.
Hines on the drive, trying everything he can, but Mark Mitchell was all over him. Late in the shot clock again. Madlock against the freshman Boateng, and good defense, and he gets the rebound.
That was excellent defensive possession.
Boateng in transition to Pierce. Pierce Euro step to the hoop. Hey, when they're falling, they're falling.
That's your night on that type of bounce. Great extension right there from Trent Pierce. I think he took off a little bit farther than he thought he was on the floor, and still able to see the ball drop.
Missouri on a 13-3 run to expand this lead to 16. Hines looking to drive on Mitchell again. That's just, I mean, there's not much that C.J. Hines can do there.
Yeah, it's excellent defense by Mark Mitchell. A great contest.
Grill, for the first time since he came back, left it a little short.
Mizzou fans were wanting that one.
Here comes Hines. This time he's got Perkins on him. Step back three, and that's more like it for him.
Yeah, that's good to see right there from Hines. Just a nice little pull-up, quick step back. Got Tony Perkins back on his heels and just had a little bit of space right there to get his shot off and knocks down the three.
First bucket tonight, he's 1 for 7, which is not like C.J. Hines. See if maybe that gets him going. Boateng and Perkins.
And Hines got to continue to stay aggressive and find that shot.
Perkins baseline cut Boateng, and he just got a little ahead of himself. It's out of bounds off of Alabama State. Here's that last Hines three.
Right here, this is a pull-up three just in transition, and a little quick just stop on a dime between the legs, slight step back, and just enough space to create off that dribble, step back into your three-point shot. And good to see C.J. Hines get the ball go through on his jump shot.
Grill thought about it, trying to create some contact. Didn't get a foul call. Had to take something because the shot clock was winding down. And Grill now 0 for 2. Madlock. And running with him is Bass.
It's a great pass by Madlock, too, in transition with the extended left hand.
Pierce trying to take the baseline. Walker's there to stop him. There's Grill from the corner. Welcome back.
What a perfectly designed play. Anar Boateng with the screen that opens up. Caleb Grill, just a hammer action to the sideline. Great pass by Trent Pierce as well, and how great to see Caleb Grill knock down the three.
And then he got a piece of that one, I think, to alter the shot by Madlock. Mitchell, straight line to the hoop, plus the foul.
An attack by Mark Mitchell, split in two with the right hand.
Lost the headband, got himself 2 points, and when we come back, a chance at a three-point play Here's a three-point play the conventional way. First time knocking one down since returning from injury. Caleb Grill of the Missouri Tigers opening up a 16-point lead over Alabama State. Me and you guys, as you guys were growing up rooting for Chase Daniel.
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
was hoping that Kent Kiefer or Jeff Handy would find a way to win more than 3 games. The program's come a long way, Jerry.
It has. It has. We're trending in the right direction, and another great season 2 for Eli Drinkwitz. Congratulations to the head coach and the coaching staff as well.
They were on the cusp of a playoff bid. They had one game gone a little bit differently. They'd finished 10-2. Perhaps they would have been in that playoff conversation, but I need you to believe that they will be for years to come. These back-to-back 10-plus win seasons. 3 from the corner, no good from Bass. Walker with the rebound out to Mack. Contested 3, no good. Pierce looking for the rebound, and that'll go to Missouri. Last touch by Alabama State. T.O. Barrett, by the way, right there, just into the game for the first time.
Yeah, and Dennis Gates is really unloading his bench here in the first half, and I like that he's trying to see. Again, he's got Caleb Grill back. They're firmly healthy in their hole right now, so he wants to try to play as many guys as you can see, and many different lineups with guys at different positions, which is great to see as well. And no Anthony Robinson on the floor.
Missouri loves to throw waves of energy, and that's one of the things that Dennis Gates said motivated him to build a roster with 10 scholarship newcomers and a team that could play 13 or 14 guys. That was way out from Warwick. T.O. Barrett right there, shortest guy in the lineup for Missouri for the putback.
Yeah, and speaking of young players that got a lot of upside, T.O. Barrett, one of the smartest players in terms of a freshman, high IQ, and he is a point guard. He's going to be off the ball quite a bit, just like Anthony Robinson was last year. T.O. Barrett's got a bright future, really smart lead guard that's just going to continue to keep growing and building as a freshman.
Mizzou's been able to get some playing time for every single one of those freshmen from that top 5 recruiting class, except for Trent Burns, who continues to be in that walking boot. He is once again this evening. All of them have played tonight except for Peyton Marshall, who we expect to see at some point.
Absolutely.
One up on the 2-minute mark. Missouri with a comfortable 15-point lead, but looking to expand that advantage. Mitchell spins and gets it to go.
And Mark Mitchell one-on-one, that's all day. And I love the read by Tony Perkins. Sees its zone, spreads the floor. And instead of pinging the ball around the perimeter, he just sees Mark Mitchell on a little slice cut and hits him right there, and he's able to go one-on-one.
He is the most aggressive inside player Missouri's had for a long time. I'm struggling to think of the last guy who, took it to the basket more strongly and intentionally than we've seen Mark Mitchell do.
Yeah, and just so skilled with both hands, too.
Gives it up there. Barrett thought about it. Looking for a cutting Warwick. And we'll see who that went off of before it hit the backboard and went out.
And right here, just Mark Mitchell, we just touched on just his ability. He doesn't get bumped off a lot. You said just his ability to attack downhill, get to the rim. He's got a great ability to read and feel a defender, whether he's facing up, attacking the rim right there, or if they're establishing him on the block, throwing it to him with his back to the basket. He can do multiple things. Very versatile offensive player that can do a lot of things off the dribble, and an improved passer in this offense, too, with Dennis Gates.
Missouri salvages the possession, obviously, under 10 to shoot. It's in the hands of Mitchell. He'll go one-on-one. Barrett with 4. Freshman has to put it up, and look at that, drew a foul.
Yeah,
Matt bailed him out.
That's a right decision, too. Late in the shot clock, anytime you can get a defender off his feet and go into him, odds are you're probably going to get that call. Heads-up play by T.O. Barrett.
Has cultivated the Wesley Stokes look as well.
Absolutely, that's a great call. That's a great call. Speaking of trips down memory lane.
Don't remind the SLU fans that are watching.
Speaking of bragging rights, some great memories of Wesley Stokes in St. Louis.
Yeah. Barrett to the line for 2. Makes the first. Women's basketball takes over the SEC network every Thursday starting this week. Big doubleheader on the opening night of conference play Thursday. Number 2 South Carolina right here in Como to take on Mizzou at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. That's followed by number 6 LSU and Arkansas in Fayetteville. That's all Thursday on the SEC network and streaming on the ESPN app. 3rd free throw coming here for Barrett as that foul was on the 3. By the way, today, the 3-year anniversary of Mizzou women's basketball defeating the South Carolina Gamecocks right here in this building back in 2021.
What a moment that was for Robin Pinchton and her program. was kind of the big staple of really setting off that team, too. That was such a good team that season here at Mizzou with Robin Pinchon.
Almost made it to the tournament that year. First time they defeated South Carolina post Sophie Cunningham. That was a fun rivalry whenever Sophie was in a Tiger uniform.
Got a little heated a few times.
That's fine. That's just fine.
Sophie didn't start that, though. I will fight anybody that said Sophie Cunningham was instigating that.
I'm going to leave it alone. Missouri's lead at 20. Madlock. Good contest by Barrett. And Mitchell comes out with the rebound. Barrett looking to push tempo. He's got Bates. Bates has the baseline. Pierce flying in, couldn't slam it down, and a foul is called there. Missouri almost had another steal.
Right idea there by Tamar Bates. Missouri's defense, really in this first half, Alabama State has struggled to make shots, but Missouri's defense has really been excellent. Their communication, their rotations, that back line, contesting shots at the rim without fouling, forcing tough shots. Floor, try to get yourself right before SEC play.
Turnovers are 6 apiece. Missouri controlling the glass, out rebounding Alabama State 18-9. I'm sorry, 22-13, 18-9 on the defensive glass. So a poor shooting night so far for Alabama State. They're shooting just 27%. Missouri is getting to most of those rebounds.
It's a good sign, too, especially when the guards of Missouri, with the amount of guys they've played, guards going to rebound. That's a huge emphasis for this team. It's not going to be like teams that have all the 7-footers around the rim rebounding every ball. Guards got to go rebound on this team.
Under 30 seconds to play in the half. Sean Fulcher just into the game. Madlock the offensive rebound and stick back. Madlock with 4 points. He's just 2 for 9. Missouri waiting for the final shot here. The freshman Barrett to the sophomore. Pierce at the buzzer. Can't get it to go. But Missouri still carries an 18-point lead into the second half. An impressive first 20 minutes from the Tigers.
Impressive first half for Missouri. Excellent defense leading to offense. Shot the ball well. Missouri with a comfortable 18-point lead here as we go to the break.
Back with more. You have to be happy with the way that they increased the lead from 10 to 20. And now the first few minutes of the second half, I'm sure it's not about embarrassing Alabama State, but if you're Missouri, you want to now take that lead up to 30 and continue to play solid defensive and offensive basketball.
Yeah, it's all about plateaus in a game when you have a lead and you want to keep building 7, 13, 19, 25. You just keep building those, and those are markers. And I think for Missouri, it started the very first possession of this game on the defensive side of the ball. Their defensive activity has been great, and they've been mostly man-to-man. We talked about Missouri changing their defenses a lot. They've been pretty solid and sound defensively because their backside has been great in rotation.
Good crowd here tonight, too, for Missouri's non-conference finale as Bates helped out his teammate Perkins there. At least 10,000, if not more, in the building tonight.
The backcourt's been great there, Ben. That's an excellent read by Tony Perkins. Was doubled, but stepped through the double team to create space and then threw a no-look pass to a cutting Tamar Bates. Veteran play right there, guard to guard.
Three-pointer rattles out. There's a rebound for Josh Gray. Didn't see a lot of the 7-footer in the first half as he got 2 quick fouls. Mitchell in transition.
Yeah, automatic. Mark Mitchell, when he caught that ball, he knew right away, I'm going straight to the rim. I have a size advantage. Was under control, patient, soft right hand. But it starts with the rebound by Josh Gray, an immediate pass to Tamar Bates, and a quick kick. Easy transition.
I was about to say, Missouri, rinse, repeat that. That's what they want to see. The big man Gray, the rebound, outlet to a guard, find someone in transition.
And that's what Dennis Gates wants to see. Play with pace, quick, early offense, take good shots, don't force bad shots.
Here they go again. Pierce, the lob, and the slam from Tamar Bates. Rinse, repeat, Gray, outlet, finish.
What a pass. That's an excellent pass by Trent Pierce, too. Almost threw it a little too high, and Tamar went and got it, threw it down.
Usually it's Tamar Bates putting it up. This time it was him throwing it down.
Trent Pierce just knows Tamar's going for a high, fully extended. And Tamar Bates goes and catches it Really good pass there. Anytime you're throwing a lob, you want to throw it to the corner and that backside of that backboard. So it was a great pass by Trent Pierce. Put a little on it. Tamar Bates still able to catch and finish.
Knox got credit for that last couple on the goaltend. He's got 5 points. Pierce got the start tonight on the drive, draws a foul.
So Trent Pierce's game, by the way, the evolution of Trent Pierce, he's a great three-point shooter. What they want him to do is play off of his shot fake because he has such a great shot. And he's a really good shot fake. And with his strides and length, we saw in the first half, he had that dunk that kind of bounced in. He can straight line drive off of that shot fake. Right there, good attack. Got to be a little stronger with the ball, but they want him to keep attacking the rim.
Look at Mitchell there. Tried the inside, flipped to the baseline, got it to work.
And he can just carve out space, too. That's what Mark's so good at. Anytime you need some action, some playmaking, whether it's him making a play for someone else or making him play for himself, you can give him the ball. He just makes so many great reads, has a great feel for what the defense is trying to do in coverage.
Mitchell one-on-one with Madlock. He's got the size advantage. Now the 2 7-footers, really the first time we've seen them go against each other tonight, Gray and O'Con. O'Con looking to outlet, instead goes Glass.
Especially Josh Gray sinking off, expecting a drop-off pass, good pass fake, and then great use of the glass.
Shaves the lead down to 22. Missouri now in the half court. Perkins with Robinson out due to illness has been running the show most of the night. Hand off to Bates with 12 to shoot. Now Bates in trouble. Under 10. Perkins. Fade away. And a rebound by Madlock. Almost stolen away by Bates. Second time he's been called for a foul there. A little over-exuberant defensively.
And, you know, this is something we've talked about with Anthony Robinson before. And Tamar's really good. Anthony Robinson, Tamar Bates, probably the 2 best players on this team defensively in terms of getting their hands on balls, deflection, steals. And they're going to look to be instinctual. They're going to look to shoot gaps, make plays like that. But you just want to be smart about it. You don't want to pick up cheap, dumb fouls, especially in big games. And you were touching on it before we started the second half about, you know, really what you want to see with that flipping that switch. Missouri needs to be thinking about SEC play right now. Like, this half is an SEC game. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Focus in, lock in. Your non-conference slate is 16 minutes away from being done. You want to be ready to go right out of the gate because you got to go to Auburn right out of the gate.
I saw today Missouri plays 6 out of the top 10 teams in the country.
There's not going to be
this week's poll.
It's not going to be any off night in league play.
Aggressive take there by Madlock. The rebound by Pierce. Missouri pushing tempo as they like to do. Cruz just into the game. Looked for a cutter. Instead finds Pierce. He takes it himself, and he'll have a chance at a 3-point play.
Great sequence right there by Trent Pierce. We're seeing the evolution. Got the start tonight. Starts on the glass. Went and chased down a defensive rebound. And then right there, just straight line drive, but playing off 2 feet, playing off a jump stop. Little hesitation, go into the contact, don't avoid it. Great shot fake, and then able to finish strong through the contact.
Pierce to the line. He's got 7. Perkins almost able to grab a rebound there. Missouri 10 of 13 at the line tonight. First opportunity of the second half for Knox is off the mark.
For Alabama State, just tough right there. Knox made a nice play to get downhill and get to the rim and extended, but just unable to finish. This was kind of one of those nights for Alabama State, just struggling to see the ball go through the rim.
Hayden Shaw checks in to replace Pierce. Pierce has 5 rebounds to lead Missouri.
And one of the things you hear from other coaches that have played in Missouri so far in non-conference play is Missouri's length on the perimeter and length in passing lanes around the rim. They force so many steals. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country in terms of forcing turnovers, forcing steals. It's going to be a big part of this team all season, and they use their length to their advantage. It's a big asset and a big thing that Dennis Gates looked to in building this roster.
Mitchell lost control as they triple teamed him. Knox in transition off the turnover. Fulcher just checked in, missed that last one, goes step back 3 and nothing but net.
Tough move.
And a timeout called as Missouri sees their lead trimmed down to 21. Back to Mizzou Arena in a moment. Tigers in control.
Either And the biggest thing, Missouri's not fouled a ton and not put Alabama State at the free throw line. They've walled up. They've gone straight up, straight down around the rim, and they're not picking up cheap fouls.
How easy is it for, a team like Missouri in a game like this to sag off a little bit defensively? I mean, that's got to be one of the bigger challenges.
No question, especially when you start thinking all about offense. That's when you see that the most. And in this game, Missouri's really focused and locked in defensively, and it's led to their offense. Basketball's a game of rhythm, and so many times players forget you can build a rhythm and a momentum and chemistry on the defensive side of the ball first.
Cruz had a couple rattle out in the first half. He gets one to fall there.
Yeah, it's got to feel good, Jacob Cruz, and that's a deep 3-2 off movement. He can make a shot. He's been really important for Missouri over their last 3 games in terms of spacing the floor with Caleb Grill out of the lineup.
Beating the post and the slam by Stephen Walker.
It's a great steal by Walker, too, and I love the play for Alabama State. Just a little pick-the-picker action and find the open angle for the dunk.
That's a guy who can really help out Alabama State in the SWAC. Played a lot as a freshman and looking good there. Shaw for 3. And that goes down. Missouri's got a lot of big guys with a lot of length who can knock down outside shots.
And that's an area of Aiden Shaw's game that has grown. Dennis Gates is very unhappy. And why? Aiden Shaw hits the 3, has a little bit of a celebration. And that's what I love about Dennis Gates right now is why. Let's we still got 14 minutes to go in this game. He's happy for Aiden Shaw to make the 3, but he wants him to do his job on the defensive side, and that's why they're having that conversation.
A coach's job is never done, is it? Even when Missouri's got a 25-point lead in the second half.
Points. That's a great night, an efficient night for Mark Mitchell.
He's also got 4 rebounds. That last highlight that we showed, you saw the end, but earlier in that play, he had a double team was coming. He tested the left and then went to the right and took the baseline. Just really deliberate in what he does.
And he has an ability to counter. And the feel thing, I go back to that because he can read a defense. He's a very good defensive player himself as a switchable, versatile forward. But when he was at Duke, he was mostly in the corner as a diver, as a cutter. The ball wasn't in his hands. And obviously Duke had a lot of other guys with the ball in their hands. But he's also used defensively to switch out. Now Mark Mitchell's going back to playing how he played in high school, why he was such a high-level talent, because he can do a lot of things with the basketball that impact winning. And obviously his versatility speaks for itself with his impact in the stat sheet in multiple areas.
Cruz and Warwick combined to force that steal. Caleb Grill getting ready to check in at the next timeout. Tony Perkins running the show for Mizzou. And that was knocked out of bounds off Perkins, so a turnover by the Tigers.
Missouri trying to run a design play there. A little too much dribbling, trying to get into the action. Good defense there by Alabama State to force a turnover.
Perkins arrest, Grill back in. If you're joining us late, he saw his first action since that neck injury against Lindenwood in the first half. Knocked down a 3-pointer, looked like his old self.
Well, how fitting, too, that he gets on the floor in about 5 seconds into it, and he's diving on the floor by Dennis Gates.
Yeah. He's already got a floor burn, too.
As Dennis Gates holds his breath, making sure he's okay.
Bass pulls up, got it to go.
Good decision right there.
Team high 9 points for Bass. Redshirt junior who once played at Georgetown, so there's something there.
This is where Dennis Gates is going to try to run a lot of different actions, put guys in different situations, and see how they execute in the half court.
Grill off the catch, and there's his second 3.
That looked like Caleb Grill we've seen in the past. The 33-point game when he was raining threes in this building, in rhythm, left to right footwork, nothing but the bottom of the net.
Held the pose a little bit.
He had to, have me feeling himself a little bit right there. How important is he, though, for Missouri going into SEC play with that shooting?
I mean, he was Missouri's leading scorer when he went down with the injury. The ability to bring a guy like that off the bench in conference play.
And he's comfortable, too, coming off the bench. He doesn't mind that. It's all about who's closing games, and Caleb Grill will close games for Missouri.
Josh Gray looking for the rebound. And it'll go to Alabama State.
We were talking before this game, too. Not sure if Caleb Grill would play and what was the ideal scenario if he does get on the floor. And really, we're seeing it. You'll see Caleb Grill probably for a little chunk of time here in the second half, and then you'll start to probably see him come out of this game just to get him ready for the SEC portion of the calendar. But it's good to get him double-digit minutes in a game like this where he can catch his rhythm, make some shots, just get back into the flow after being out for a few weeks.
He's just been really good this season when he's come off the bench, which has been more often than not. Some guys just need a chance to see how the game is playing.
Absolutely. And I think with Caleb, too, the older experience, how smart he is as a player. When he goes in the game, he's going to play hard regardless, but he can just get a feel and a sense of how the game is going and how he can make his impact on the game.
Driving there is Simpson, but he stepped out of bounds.
And Caleb Grill, too, like when he comes into a game, it's important if young players are watching this game, young kids watch this game, kids in high school that have a dream of playing college basketball. I would urge you to watch Caleb Grill when he checks into a game, because he goes all out, and usually it's the defensive side of the ball of where he really wants to get going. He's a lethal shooter, knockdown shooter, and yeah, he wants to find shots and make shots, but defensively, that's when he really gets a sweat, gets himself going, and gets involved in a game.
Knocked away from Gray on the fast break. Bass, the Euro step, the bucket, and the foul.
Great play by Bass. Tamar Bates tried to throw him off with the defense of trying to keep his backside to him, but a great finish there by Bass.
That takes us to another break. Under 12 minutes to play in the second half. Missouri in control. Chance for a three-point play for Alabama State when we come back.
And you become more dynamic offensively. We've talked about Missouri being able to get to the free throw line as a team. They've proven that. They've proven their two-point field goal percentage. They're a good team in the paint. And I think the thing that they really haven't shown but have is the three-point shot. A lot of that has to do with Caleb Grill being back in this line, knowing he's probably their best three-point shooter.
Deontay Bass misses the and one opportunity. That was just the second trip to the foul line by an Alabama State player tonight. Missouri's lead at 24. Whistle away from the ball, and a foul on Alabama State.
Important too in a game like this, the lead for Missouri, substantial, with still a lot of time to play. The energy in the building has gone down as from where it was in the first half. So for Missouri and for Alabama State, you got to create your own energy. A lot of time left in this game.
Grill doesn't get the roll. Tipped back in by Gray.
Great to see. Great to see. That's Josh Gray's game. He's going to rebound the ball. Those little stick backs. How good was he in the Kansas game? Rebounding the basketball. He's got to be that, and he's got that SEC experience to do it.
Foul trouble in the first half, but he's had a strong second half so far as we approach the midway point. Under 10 to shoot. Nice take all the way. That was Sean Fulcher.
Missouri giving up a straight line drive right there. Good attack by Fulcher.
Gray facing up. Double teamed. And there's a block for Jalen Kigo. Ball fake, penetrate kick by Simpson. Corner three. Rims in.
That's a friendly bounce over here in front of the Mizzou student section tonight. Ball hit the rim about 3-4 times and drops.
Warwick on the drive.
Smooth. Good screen, too, by Josh Gray. Go back to Josh Gray, too. Like, Josh Gray does the little things. Really good screener, good out of the short roll, uses his strength. That's his game, to play with some force and power around the rim. But a really good screener to open up Warwick there for the drive.
He stayed out of foul trouble in the second half and has all three of his rebounds in the first 10 minutes of this half. There's a three from Bass. Bates hunts down that rebound.
Something Mizzou's coaches stress a lot is Tamar Bates going to rebound the ball. He can get steals, make shots, scores the ball, has to go to the glass consistently for this team.
Gray out to Bates. Bates thinking about it. Calls for a screen. Shot blocked. A good defensive stand there by Alabama State. Good take by Micah Simpson.
What a pass.
Grill wanting a foul.
A lot of contact there as well, but what a pass by Tamar. Caleb wanted to bring the house down here. That would have brought some energy.
Things have kind of sagged here, midway point of the second half. Fulcher looking to drive. There's a long three that goes down from Tyler Mack.
It's a great pass, too. The skip is available.
Just like that, it's an 18-point game, and Dennis Gates calls timeout. Missouri lacking that energy on the defensive end.
Yeah, and Caleb Grill's still pretty agitated and saying a lot of things to this baseline official. It's drawn a conversation here from Dennis Gates. I think Dennis wants to protect Caleb as well. He's on a transition fast break.
Caleb wanted to say his piece.
Yeah, yep.
Greg O'Million doing his job. He's a coach now.
There was a lot of things going on there, and Caleb Grill gave up a 3-2 and continued to say things to the official as well. So.
Well, we have Texas and Georgia covered in Atlanta and New Orleans before, during, and after their college football playoff quarterfinal matchups. Pre-game coverage begins tomorrow with the Paul Feinbaum Show at 3 Eastern, 2 Central Time. Then on game day, got you covered from noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, all the way to midnight. Wrapping up an unforgettable day of SEC football in the college football playoff. That is tomorrow on the SEC Network and streaming on the ESPN app.
So many fun games ahead with the college football playoff. How fun has that been so far? Some games not as entertaining maybe as others as we go through this playoff, but it's been made the college football season a blast to watch.
We'll see here in the next round. Never had this before.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad it's here. I think we all can speak for that.
Well, Missouri's lead down to 18. Let's see what the Tigers do coming out of that last timeout. Dennis Gates wasn't pleased with what he saw the previous few minutes.
Smart timeout too to just calm down Caleb Grill there as well.
Almost stolen. Micah Simpson stepped out of bounds before he was able to save it. And Missouri will keep it with 8 seconds to play on the shot clock. Tony Perkins comes back in for Jacob Cruz.
Tony Perkins continuing to have a solid night, just building off of that Illinois game that he had. That was a great sign of just Tony getting to the free throw line as much as he did.
Grill from way out. Can't get it to go on the rebound by Bass. Missouri with a small lineup right now. Warwick, Bates, Perkins, Shaw, and Grill.
Caleb Grill has that range, by the way. That is not a bad. It's late in the shot clock, but he has that range.
Simpson, rebound by Bates. Tamar Bates has 6 rebounds to lead Missouri.
Another great sign in that stat sheet is Tamar Bates going to the glass.
Warwick misses the 3. Fulcher in transition, knocked away by Grill, and Shaw the steal. Shaw. Boy, Bates wanted that out on the break. Instead, he's left alone in the corner.
Here, that's his shot. Spot up, catch and shoot, just a smooth stroke. Excellent play by Caleb Grill defensively, and then Aiden Shaw, smart to not just throw the ball, settles himself down, finds a guard, and when Mizzou gets a spot up 3.
And Missouri's lead back over 20. Whistle away from the ball. Foul coming on Missouri. We've got 7:22 to go. Mizzou with a 21-point lead. To face on the road. Oh, just the #1 team in the country according to the net rankings.
At least you're going to find out a lot right out of the gate against the number 2 overall team, #1 in net on the road. But you look at the SEC as a whole. I mean, we talked about this before the game of just this is the strongest the SEC has been since we started calling games years back. You got 4 of the top 6 teams in the country in the top 10. Tennessee and Florida and Oklahoma still undefeated. It's pretty impressive what this league is in terms of top to bottom and how they played against top 25 teams, especially those quad 1 games that the SEC has won.
Look, if you are at anywhere around 500 in the SEC this year, how in the world would the committee justify not having you in the tournament?
Oh, there's going to be the SEC right now, and obviously the league, it always gets said they're going to beat up on each other a little bit. That will happen. But this league is so good and so competitive, and what the SEC has done in non-conference play is why this league is going to see a lot of teams get in on Selection Sunday.
Technical foul called on Tamar Bates. He's upset. Missouri's had a couple of issues with some of the calls.
Yeah.
And they called the technical. I think we're going to see here. He contacted the ball while it was out of bounds. Here's another look here. Guarding the inbound. Yeah, and there you go.
Yeah.
One of those things that's an automatic technical,
automatic, right? And Tamar Bates just probably lost sight of where he was a little bit on the inbounds.
Tyler Mack hits the three. Alabama State has got to love the way they have played this second half. They're not going away. Missouri still with a comfortable lead, but 17 is the smallest their lead has been since halftime.
Yeah, Alabama State's finding some things on offense, making some shots, struggled in the first half. It's starting to find a little bit of a rhythm on offense.
Shot clock under 10 for Missouri. Bates, Perkins. Perkins, the drive and kick. It's Mitchell from the corner. Offensive rebound by Perkins. Grill straight away.
It's in rhythm, too. That's a good-looking shot. You'll live with that shot all day.
Missouri 8 for 25 as a team from three. Good contest there by Perkins, just lost control.
You know, Tony Perkins probably gets overlooked a little bit for he had a block shot in the first half down here. He came from the weak side. Right there, he's just swimming over the top, denying a post entry, gets a deflection. I mean, he does a lot of these little things. He's got such quick, active hands defensively. He brings a level of toughness, too. Very similar to Caleb Grill in many ways. He loves to guard, and look at that on cue.
Right there.
Just the physicality he brings. He's like a defensive back. He wants to jump every lane.
Got the steal, and then the foul called on Micah Simpson. Fourth team foul of the half. Pretty clean second half.
Really has been. Game's been up and down a little bit. Settled more into the half court definitely of late. First half, that tempo was going up and down. But now Missouri's starting to slow the game down with the lead, looking to execute, run some clock as well.
Perkins to Allen. Allen's a little bit more comfortable down low. 6 minutes to play. There's Mitchell on the drive. Another aggressive take by number 25.
Yeah, just the veteran play here by Tony Perkins. Mark Mitchell, simple ball screen against the zone and knew where Marcus Allen was to draw to. And Mark Mitchell's just able to attack it to his left hand. So quick to the rim and fluid athletically downhill.
Fulcher, the scoop, and he will go to the line.
And you talk about, too, life in the SEC for Missouri. Back to the non-conference slate, when you look at 13 SEC teams in the top 50 of the Ken Pom. SEC teams 21-7 against top 25, 6-2 against the top 10. High-level competition. So Missouri's walking into that. The good news is when you look at Missouri's non-conference slate, the win against Kansas jumps out. I even go back to the Cal win that Missouri had. I think they found out a lot about themselves in that game, being able to come back down a big deficit, find that rhythm, build, and then they carried that over to the next game. The Illinois game, they're down double digits. They come back. They know they left points on the free throw line. They look like a different basketball team tonight. They look like they've taken the holiday, the break a little bit. They've played better tonight on both ends of the floor.
We talked about it in the first half, just how much all of these individual players have changed and grown over the last couple of months. And, you know, how different this team is, top to bottom, from the one that ran out on the floor in Memphis the first night of the season.
Yeah, and when you go out on the road in the first game, Missouri had a lead in that game. Looked very similar to the Memphis game a year prior. It's a different battle. They keep getting better and better, and the health factor, too, in the non-conference slate has been a factor. No Anthony Robbins tonight. Hopefully he'll be back against Auburn. Missouri can get to full strength.
Perkins able to get down low, and then it closes up. And a jump ball is called. That'll go to Alabama State on the alternating possession.
Tony Perkins, one of the foul. And a lot of conversations from a lot of gold jerseys here in the second half. Let's take a look here. It's close. There's a lot of contact.
Let's see if Alabama State can get this down to 15. Active hands defensively by Tamar Bates forces the turnover.
That's what he was doing on the sideline out of bounds. That's illegal now when he's able to do it here on the floor. But again, the active hands of Tamar Bates, and you know the ability to use that quick hand to deflect the ball off of the Alabama State player and force the turnover. Just very instinctual to know and understand where the ball is.
Just got to wait for the ball to be in play.
That's
Tamar.
right.
They're very patient on the perimeter here down the stretch. Three-pointer no good, but a foul called on Jalen Kigo.
I feel like so many times too, seeing Tamar Bates, he grew up in Kansas City, very good high school player, goes to the University of Indiana. Kind of similar situation to Mark Mitchell going to Duke. Different factors in terms of systems and style of play and positions, but when Tamar Bates came to Missouri, you knew he was talented and skilled. Think about the big games Tamar Bates had last year. It wasn't a great year, obviously, record-wise, but Tamar Bates grew up as a player. Now he's a leader this year of this basketball team. And you had the call against Jacksonville State, and Tamar Bates didn't necessarily play all that well. He bounced back against Illinois. And when you think about Tamar Bates in big games, he's really shined. The KU, Memphis, Illinois, Cal game, 15 points per game, 54% from the field, 37 from 3 and 3 steals. He's an impact player.
You know, the two words that I think of when I look at Tamar Bates as a player now are intentional and serious. He takes this game so seriously, and he's so intentional with his actions on the floor.
And you saw the emotion, too, in the Kansas win, and he's obviously familiar with the rivalry. It means something, especially the year they had last year. Like, that sticks with Tamar Bates when you go through the losing that they went through last year. He wants to win. That's what he wants to do, and he wants to set the tone, and he is doing that.
And Missouri a year ago at this time, if you said, hey, late in the ball game, need a shot, you weren't quite sure who to get the ball to. This year, you know, Tamar Bates, Mark Mitchell. They got several options. Caleb Grill.
Several options. I think you hit it on the head right there. Adding Caleb Grill back, you're going to see Caleb Grill close games. The ability to expand the floor, allow Tamar Bates and Mark Mitchell to do what they do.
Someone like Tony Perkins and Marquez Warwick, who we've talked about, who have played so many basketball games at the Division I level. Perkins in the Big Ten.
I still go back to Anthony Robinson, one of the most improved players as well in college basketball.
Don't forget the big shot he hit a year ago against Minnesota as a freshman.
No question. Guy is unafraid.
Missouri, this is probably going to be a little fun. Perkins
had a few of these over the last couple games. Had a thunder dunk in the Illinois games. Had a couple tonight. Taking that defense to offense.
He and Mitchell were smiling at each other, running back down floor. I think that was Perkins saying, "You get plenty of these kind of opportunities.
This is my chance. This is my time."
Second slam of the night. 3 no good. A rebound by Pierce. Under 4 minutes to play. Missouri, as you mentioned, Jarrett, looking to close this game out strong. How would you approach the final 3.5 minutes as Pierce hits the 3 if it was a close SEC game?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at guys on this roster, especially when they're at full strength, Anthony Robinson, Mark Mitchell, Tamar Bates, Caleb Grill, those 4 guys are so critical to closing games. And then you can get creative. You can go Aiden Shaw. You know, you can go, Tony Perkins down the stretch. You can go maybe Trent Pierce for shooting late. A lot of different ways you can go to the lineup.
Missouri has expanded the lead back out to 25, looking to finish this game strong. Tony Perkins certainly is. 2-on-0 break. I got this one, Mark. Perkins with 10. Missouri with a 25-point lead.
It's a great thing to say. And Mizzou, you look up to, it's a great stat in terms of their offense. They're a highly efficient offense, 60% from 2 coming into tonight. Did a great job getting to the free throw line, as we've talked about. But Mizzou's top 20 in 10 statistical categories. So the versatility, like we've touched on Mark Mitchell. I know Anthony Robinson isn't playing. He's a great two-way player. Tony Perkins has been good tonight on both ends of the floor. Obviously, Tamar Bates, both ends of the floor. The two-way players that you can put into a game. Marcus Allen coming on the floor right now is a great defensive, versatile player. Missouri's just really done a nice job through the non-conference slate of finding out who they are, playing to their strengths. There are things they still need to fine-tune. They're going to have to compete on the glass against big-time competition. We're going to keep watching that all year. It's good to see them do it tonight. They got to continue to do that.
From a scoring perspective, I mean, this is who they are. 11 different players have scored tonight. You got 4 different guys in double figures, with Bates leading the way at 16, Pierce 10, Perkins 10, Mitchell 14. Robinson, another guy who you can usually count on for 10 to 15 points a night and has the ability to go off. He's had a 29-point game this season. Hard to figure out who to stop. This is not a team, coaches will tell you that everybody in the profession knows how to read a stat sheet. This is not a team where you can just read the stat sheet and go, oh, okay, here's what we need to do.
Well, and the fact, too, of coaches are going to evaluate different lineups.
Yeah.
And that's such a weapon when Coach Gates is not afraid to play just different guys at different times. And we saw a lot of different starting lineups last year for a reason. There was reasons behind that. Injuries played a part in that. But I think, too, 8 different guys have carried Mizzou in scoring, from different games. Like the ability, the roster top to bottom, and how Dennis Gates and his staff addressed it, whether it be the freshman class, whether it be the transfers, whether it be the guys they brought back. They got guys that can score. They got guys that have the versatility to them to play both ends. And I think Dennis is just so happy with being able to look down the bench. And you look at the engagement of the bench, too. Nobody's hanging their heads. There's none of that going on. That means, to me, you have a player-led team, and that's really important. Guys like Tony Perkins, guys like Mark Mitchell, they understand it. But Tamar Bates is the tie over that has really carried the leadership mantle for this program.
Well, and it started back last season. I remember, it feels like ages ago now, but a couple of months ago before the season started, Mizzou had a big media day here, and all the players were able to talk, and asked every single one of the freshmen, how is it you all watch this team lose 19 straight SEC games and nobody bails on the recruiting class? And they said we were already teammates. Yeah. They had a group text going. A lot of them recruited each other in the recruiting process. They believe in Dennis Gates. They believed in the program. And, here's Missouri now. A year ago, it took them, I don't know how long to get to 10 wins, and this will be their 11th here tonight before conference play even starts.
And you hit on it. It goes back to Dennis Gates. There's a buy-in from players. He's a modern-day thinker and really understands the modern game in terms of how he wants to play. He believes in depth. He is a guy that really values offensive efficiency and flow in offense and allows guys to play to their strengths. He doesn't want to micromanage guys. You go to Mizzou practice, he's very direct with his message. He's not going to just kill you with a bunch of fluff. He wants to be able to coach and teach guys, but also allow them to just be themselves, which I think is a really important factor of why this program is where it's at with the guys that they brought in.
I think there's a perception out there that, now in the NIL and soon to be revenue sharing era, coaches kind of have to walk on eggshells to make sure they don't tick anybody off, and then they enter the transfer portal, especially in football and basketball. But that's not the way Dennis Gates approaches it at all, and I think he recruits players who wouldn't want to be approached that way.
Yeah, there's an accountability piece, but he knows that he had to have leaders to do that. And it's important that he kept certain guys and then brought guys that were about the right things, that really wanted to see this program go to a place where they know they can win and they can be effective in the SEC and have a chance at a March run.
We could really see the pride on the faces of Mark Mitchell and Tamar Bates in particular after that Kansas game. And obviously those are two KCK guys. They, that was their Super Bowl this year. But what Tamar Bates said afterwards, making a point of saying hey, he's on a mission to prove that this program can be what it's been back when you played, and to show other kids from Kansas City and other areas that you don't have to leave the area. Big time basketball is back at Mizzou.
Yeah, I thought that was a big time comment to make too.
Well, there's a reason Dennis Gates asked him to lean into the mic and say it again.
Can we repeat that? I think too, guys like Aiden Shaw, staying here and improving and working and believing. And obviously he's got ties to Mizzou's Kansas City kid, but Aiden Shaw could have gone and transferred. And in today's day and age too, so many guys, that's the easy way. Put your name in the portal and go somewhere. Guys that stay and improve, like Anthony Robinson's a perfect example of this. A guy that stayed, and his minutes were fluctuated last year. He played out of position most of the season. He's gotten so much better. He's believed in Dennis Gates, and they've stayed the course. And I think that says a lot about this staff to go through what they went through last year. And there still is a positivity. There's a feeling in that locker room of a togetherness that this program it's a foundation. It's something Dennis talked about when he took the job, is building the foundation first. They went to the NCAA tournament year one. They went 25 games. Yeah. Now we're in year 3, and there was going to be a real rebuild at some point. They were building around Kobe Brown in year 1, and they went to the tournament. There was going to be a rebuild, and they're just starting this trend upward right now.
You mentioned Robinson. Robinson and Pierce had, this is an insider term. It's called being a freshman.
Right.
A year ago.
Right. Exactly. You're going to go through things. We talked to Lawrence Bowers before, my old teammate. Lawrence, we were an Elite 8 team my freshman year, and Lawrence was at the end of the bench. He played a good amount of minutes, but he knew his time was coming, and then by the time he's a senior in his 5th year, he's an all-SEC player, and especially when Mizzou made the transition to the SEC. He's one of the best players in the SEC. Got better and better. That's a little different, you know, when you're staying in school for 4 or 5 years at one school and one program.
Oh, a trio of tomahawk slams by Tony Perkins tonight.
Who knew Tony Perkins had this bounce? He is 3 dunks and really just been great tonight on both ends of the floor.
12 points for Perkins, matching Pierce. We got Mitchell with 14, Bates with 16. Under a minute to go. Oh, Deontay Bass. Wow, a little something too.
That might be the play of the night right there. That was nasty. I'm not gonna lie, that was a big time cut. He got up off the ground, and that's Trent Pierce. Tear the rim down right there.
Coming off a knee injury and a medical redshirt in his career, started his career at Georgetown. He started 5 games this year. I think you're going to see a lot more of Deontay Bass and SWAC play.
He has shown a lot of his athleticism tonight.
Leading
nice,
scorer.
Nice little stroke, too.
Leading scorer with 14 tonight for Alabama State. 6 of 9 from the floor also. So an efficient game.
It's good to see Missouri, too, protect the home turf, Ben. It's a big part of their season. Win at home, create a home court environment in this building. As you and I know, this place can get rowdy in league play. It is a home court advantage.
They will carry an 11-0 home record into SEC competition. Losses in the non-con at Memphis and on the neutral site of the Enterprise Center in bragging rights last week. Good crowd tonight also. I think you're going to see,
no question,
an amped up crew inside Mizzou Arena this season also.
Yeah, that was great, especially with the Christmas break still intact, and especially the Mizzou Bowl game. It was great to see the fans come out tonight and really fill this place up.
A miss off the final shot of the game, and Missouri ends up finishing non-conference play 11-0 at home with an 82-65 win.
SEC play, here we come. You're in the family. Great to see Dennis Gates in this program bounce back from Illinois and get a win at home.
Missouri spreading it around on a Monday night in their final non-conference game. 16 points for Tamar Bates, 14 for Mark Mitchell. Missouri still undefeated on Norm Stewart Court this season as Caleb Drill comes back and helps lead the Tigers to a win. For my partner Jared Sutton, for our entire Columbia, Missouri-based SEC Network crew, thanks for watching tonight. Missouri with an 82-65 win over Alabama State. We say so long from Como. This has been a presentation of ESPN.